Hey, what's up? If you are a swimmer or a triathlete and you've been looking for a goggle that will specifically cut down the glare and the fog while you're swimming in open water, stick around while we stack up the 4 best-selling and hottest goggles of 2015. So if you've been watching the A-Race channel, you know that we have reviewed the 4 best-selling and hottest goggles of 2015. That being the Taren Special Ops 2.0 Polarized goggles, the Roka Sports F2 Full View Mirrored Goggle, the Zoggs Predator Flex Ultra Polarized Goggle, and the Speedo Vanquisher 2.0 Mirrored Goggle. These have been the hottest, most talked about, and best-selling goggles of 2015. We've been reviewing all of these goggles individually up till now, but today we're going to stack them up side by side and I'm going to give you my final answer of which goggle I think is the best goggle of 2015. As far as price goes, the Speedo Vanquisher 2.0 was the best bang for your buck at $20. The Zoggs Predator Flex was the most expensive by far at $50. Even though the Speedo Vanquisher was the cheapest, it was one of my most favorite goggles, so I think that this was by far the best bang for your buck out of any of the goggles that I tried. As far as comfort goes, I made the bold statement in my Taren Special Ops 2.0 goggle review that this is by far the most comfortable goggle that I've ever put on. It's followed close behind by Roka, which were fairly easy to fit to my face because you didn't have to tighten them down very much. I had a little bit of trouble thinking that I could possibly wear these 2 goggles for long multi-hour open water swims. As far as how easy it is to get the right fit out of the goggle, I find, and a lot of swimmers find, that the smaller the goggle, like an eye socket goggle, the easier it is to fit in your face. And that's what I found comparing these 4. I found the Speedo Vanquishers to be the easiest to fit onto my face. I didn't have to mess around with it much and move it. And I found the Rokas, which were the next smallest goggle, to be the next easiest to fit. And that relates really closely to how well the goggles suction down onto your face. I found the Roka F2s to suction down the best, followed closely behind by the Speedo Vanquishers. And if you saw the videos, you'll know that the Zoggs, I had a tough time getting them to suction onto my face until I tightened them up quite a bit. And the Taren Special Ops, they were just a lost cause. I couldn't get them to suction down onto my face while still being comfortable unless I tightened them up so much that it hurt. Fog, again, Roka won this round because it suctioned onto my face the best, letting in the least amount of moisture and fogging up the least. The Speedo Vanquishers, again, were right in behind because they suctioned on really well. Zoggs were the same thing. They fogged up still, but it wasn't an incredible amount. The Taren Special Ops, because I couldn't get them to suction on my face, there was so much moisture in these that they fogged up to the point that I basically couldn't see. Glare and visibility, obviously the mirrored goggles do the best job of cutting out the glare from the sun that comes off the water. The reason that I give Roka the edge on glare and visibility is because the viewing angle is a lot bigger on the Roka than it is the Speedo Vanquisher. I found that the Zoggs didn't really cut down any of the sun glare when the sun was low in the sky, but a caveat to the Zoggs Polarized goggles is that they might not do a good job of cutting out the glare, but if you're doing a midday race or an overcast race, the color of these Zoggs really crisps up all of the trees and the water and the buoys, so this will have a really good tint to it if you're doing a midday race. And again, Taren, there was so much fog, it was a lost cause. I couldn't even see where I was in the lake. As far as looks goes, Taren by far wins this one. I wanted to like these goggles so badly because I love the loud, mismatched colors. I like the sleekness of the Roka. I think it's a very nice modern design. I thought the Zoggs were fairly industrial looking. I'm not a big fan of the gray, but as I mentioned in the Zoggs review that there's a red and white color, and the Speedo Vanquishers, it's basically just a socket goggle, so it's about as plain as it gets. So the final answer, how do all of these goggles stack up against each other? Which one comes out ahead? It's the Roka Sports F2 Full View Mirrored Goggle. It has the best combination of cutting out the glare, nice wide viewing angle, comfort on the face, easy to fit, good for diving, decent in the pool. Only caveat that I would say is that it's quite dark, and if you're only going to have 1 goggle period, you might have a tough time seeing the clock while you're in the pool. Speedo Vanquisher was a close second because it did a great job of cutting out the glare. Didn't have to tighten it down too much or fart around with it much to get that good fit. You've got adjustability on the nose piece if you've got a wider face or a more narrow face. Didn't really fog up a lot. Like the Rokas though, it's probably a little bit dark to use in the pool, but if you've only got to have 1 set of goggles, these are a pretty good quality set of goggles. The Tier Special Ops came in third, largely because they got high marks with looks and comfort. Probably the best looking, most comfortable set of goggles, and the widest viewing angle of any goggle that I've tried. Like I said, I wish I liked these more and that they fit better to my face. Finally, the ones that come in last are the Zoggs. For 50 bucks, that being almost double any of the other goggles, I really expected a lot more. They didn't fit extremely well to my face. It took a while to break them in. It has a huge silicone gasket here, which isn't that flexible at all. It's actually quite stiff, so it hurts my eye socket, pinches the nose a little bit. I think that the Zoggs goggles tried to get a little bit too fancy, and they ended up being too big for their britches. There's just a lot going on here. And you know what, they're so big that you almost can't use them in the pool if you're ever going to dive off the blocks because they fall right off your face. So that is it in our 5 video reviews of the best selling and hottest goggles of 2015. Before you go, if you are not yet an A-Race subscriber and you want to see more videos for triathletes, swimmers, cyclists, runners, basically any endurance athlete who wants to get a little bit faster, figure out what gear to buy, and have more fun with endurance sports, I'd love if you subscribed. If you're watching on a computer, you can do that really easily by clicking on me or the subscribe button above. If you're watching on a smartphone, hit the subscribe button below. If you are a regular A-Race subscriber, thanks as always for watching, commenting, and liking the video. Happy swimming out there. Kill your next A-Race.